April 14, 1912, the RMS Titanic sailed steadily through the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Captain Edward Smith, having been informed of icebergs in the area, ordered a slight course correction to avoid potential hazards. As night fell, the temperature plummeted, and a calm sea stretched out under a star-studded sky. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee were scanning the horizon from the crow's nest. Suddenly, Fleet spotted an iceberg directly in the ship's path. He frantically rang the warning bell and picked up the phone to alert the bridge. "Iceberg, right ahead," he shouted. First Officer William Murdoch immediately ordered the ship to turn hard to port and the engines to full reverse. Slowly, the Titanic began to veer away. With just moments to spare, the great ship scraped alongside the iceberg, sending a shower of ice onto the forward deck. Passengers felt a shudder, but the hull remained intact. The Titanic continued on its journey, shaken but undamaged. Relieved sighs filled the bridge, and the crew worked to reassure anxious passengers. Captain Smith ordered a thorough inspection of the hull and the lower decks. Miraculously, no significant damage was found, and the Titanic resumed its original course, albeit at a reduced speed. The next day, passengers went about their activities with renewed energy. The near miss became a topic of conversation, with many recounting their experiences of the previous night's excitement. The ship's band played cheerful tunes, and the dining rooms buzzed with animated chatter. John Jacob Astor IV, one of the wealthiest men aboard, sat with his young wife, Madeline, discussing their plans once they reached New York. Nearby, the Strauss couple, Isidore and Ida, enjoyed a leisurely breakfast, their bond evident in every glance. Below deck, the third-class passengers shared their own tales, their spirits undimmed by the night's events. As the Titanic approached her destination, thoughts turned to the future. Shipbuilder Thomas Andrews, satisfied with the vessel's performance, began to contemplate improvements for future liners. Meanwhile, J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of White Star Line, considered how to leverage the Titanic's brush with disaster into a compelling story of resilience and engineering prowess. But the iceberg incident left a lingering unease. Captain Smith, seasoned and wise, pondered the unpredictability of the sea. He knew that the ship's survival had been a narrow escape, a reminder of nature's immense power. Determined to ensure the safety of his passengers and crew, he called for a series of safety drills and increased vigilance. As the Titanic steamed towards New York Harbor, a thick fog began to descend. The thick fog enveloped the Titanic, reducing visibility to near zero. Captain Smith, already on edge from the close call with the iceberg, ordered the ship to slow down further and posted additional lookouts. The ship's foghorn bellowed through the mist, a haunting sound that blended with the rhythmic pulse of the engines. Passengers, feeling a sense of unease, gathered in common areas, drawn to the warmth of companionship and the safety of numbers. In the grand staircase, children played under the watchful eyes of their parents, their laughter a comforting contrast to the tension hanging in the air. The Titanic navigated cautiously through the fog, its crew working tirelessly to ensure a safe passage. In the wireless room, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride maintained constant communication with other ships, exchanging updates on the fog and any potential hazards. They relayed messages to Captain Smith, who adjusted the course as needed. Days passed, and the Titanic finally emerged from the fog, greeted by clear skies and calm seas. The relief among the passengers and crew was palpable. The Statue of Liberty came into view, signaling their imminent arrival in New York Harbor. Cheers erupted on deck as passengers gathered to catch their first glimpse of the new world. Docking at Pier 59, the Titanic was met with fanfare and media frenzy. Reporters swarmed the gangplank, eager to capture the stories of those who had survived the harrowing journey. Headlines across the world proclaimed the Titanic's near disaster, hailing the ship and her crew as heroes. In the weeks that followed, the Titanic became a symbol of resilience. White Star Line capitalized on the publicity, marketing the ship as unsinkable once more, but with a renewed emphasis on safety. Safety measures on all White Star Line ships were improved, including better lifeboat drills, increased lifeboat capacity, and more stringent ice patrols in the North Atlantic. The near tragedy had a profound impact on many. Captain Smith, deeply affected by the experience, chose to retire earlier than planned, dedicating his remaining years to maritime safety advocacy. Thomas Andrews returned to Harland and Wolff, where he implemented design changes to future ships, including improved watertight compartments and hull reinforcement. As for the passengers, their lives took various paths. John Jacob Astor IV and his wife Madeline became patrons of maritime safety, funding research and contributing to advancements in shipbuilding technology. Isidore and Ida Strauss, forever grateful for their survival, established scholarships and charities, emphasizing the importance of community in support. The Titanic's legacy endured, not as a tale of tragedy, but as a story of survival and progress. The ship's journey underscored the importance of respect for the sea and the relentless pursuit of safety in maritime travel. And so, the Titanic sailed into history, her story unfinished, a reminder of both human ingenuity and the ever-present power of nature. But what none aboard the Titanic could foresee was that this near catastrophe had set into motion a series of events that would ripple through time, affecting lives and shaping destinies in ways they could never have imagined. As the Titanic docked in New York Harbor, a young journalist named Evelyn Thompson wove her way through the throngs of reporters. Evelyn had a knack for uncovering the deeper stories beneath the headlines, and she sensed there was more to the Titanic's journey than the world had yet heard. Among the disembarking passengers, Evelyn spotted Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer. She introduced herself and asked for an interview. Intrigued by her earnestness, Andrews agreed, and they found a quiet corner in a nearby cafe. Over steaming cups of coffee, Andrews spoke of the iceberg incident, the ship's design, and his commitment to future safety improvements. Evelyn listened intently, her mind already formulating the questions that would dig deeper into the human elements of the voyage. Meanwhile, John Jacob Astor IV, now a hero in the public's eye, held a press conference. Beside him stood Madeline, radiant and composed. The couple spoke of their gratitude and future plans, including funding for maritime research. Evelyn jotted down notes, but her instincts told her there was more to uncover. Days turned into weeks, and the Titanic's passengers began to resume their lives. But for some, the experience had left indelible marks. Captain Smith, though retired, found himself restless. He began writing a memoir, hoping to process his thoughts and share his insights into the harrowing journey. His manuscript would eventually become a vital resource for maritime historians. Evelyn, persistent and driven, continued her investigations. She tracked down crew members and passengers, piecing together a mosaic of personal stories. She discovered that several third-class passengers, whose voices were often overlooked, had formed a tight-knit community during the voyage. They had shared not only the fear of the iceberg but also dreams of new beginnings in America. Among them was a young Irish woman named Siobhan O'Reilly, who had come to America seeking a better life. Siobhan's tale of resilience and hope became a central theme in Evelyn's burgeoning article. In the aftermath of the near disaster, the maritime industry saw sweeping changes. Evelyn's articles, filled with first-hand accounts and expert analyses, played a significant role in raising public awareness. Her work highlighted the need for ongoing vigilance and innovation in maritime safety. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SALAS, convened, implementing new regulations inspired by the Titanic's journey. Lifeboat drills became mandatory, and ice patrols were established to monitor the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. As Evelyn's career flourished, she received a mysterious letter. It was from an anonymous source, claiming to have information about a conspiracy involving the White Star Line. Intrigued and cautious, Evelyn decided to investigate further. She discovered that there had been whispers among the crew about a hidden agenda, possibly linked to the ship's financier, J. Bruce Ismay. Evelyn's investigation led her to clandestine meetings and shadowy figures. She uncovered evidence suggesting that the near disaster might have been more than just a stroke of luck or fate. There were hints of sabotage, corporate rivalries, and political maneuvering. As she delved deeper, Evelyn realized she was on the brink of a story that could shake the foundations of the maritime world. Her journey took her across continents, from the bustling streets of New York to the quiet docks of Belfast, where the Titanic had been built. Along the way, she forged alliances with other journalists, maritime experts, and even former Titanic crew members. Together, they pieced together a narrative that challenged the official story of the Titanic's voyage. Evelyn's pursuit of the truth became a race against time, as powerful forces sought to silence her. She faced threats and intimidation but remained undeterred. The closer she got to the truth, the more she realized that the Titanic story was far from over. It was a tale of human ambition, courage, and the relentless quest for truth, set against the backdrop of an era defined by technological marvels and human folly. And so, the story of the Titanic continued to unfold, each revelation adding new layers to the legend of the ship that almost sank but ultimately sailed into history as a beacon of progress and a symbol of humanity's enduring spirit. Evelyn Thompson's relentless pursuit of the truth ensured that the Titanic's legacy would be remembered not just for its near tragedy, but for the lessons it imparted to future generations. Evelyn Thompson's pursuit of the truth led her deeper into a web of intrigue. She discovered that the near sinking of the Titanic had far-reaching implications, touching not only the maritime industry but also powerful political and financial circles. Her research revealed connections between White Star Line executives, influential politicians, and even rival shipping companies, all with stakes in the outcome of the Titanic's maiden voyage. In the shadowy underbelly of New York, Evelyn met with a whistleblower, a former White Star Line employee named Robert Hayes. Hayes provided her with documents that hinted at deliberate negligence and possibly sabotage. He spoke of secret meetings where high-ranking officials discussed the potential benefits of a maritime disaster, a scheme to manipulate stock prices and secure government contracts for new safety regulations. Armed with this explosive information, Evelyn knew she needed to tread carefully. She collaborated with trusted colleagues, sharing her findings and ensuring that multiple copies of the documents were safely stored. The stakes were high, and Evelyn understood that she was now a target. One evening, while working late in her modest apartment, Evelyn received an urgent knock at her door. It was Siobhan O'Reilly, the young Irish woman she had interviewed earlier. Siobhan, visibly shaken, handed Evelyn a crumpled note. "I overheard something at my new job. They're planning to silence you," she whispered, her voice trembling. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Evelyn decided to take her investigation to the public. She arranged a press conference and invited journalists from all major newspapers. In a packed room, Evelyn presented her evidence, meticulously laying out the connections and motives behind the near tragedy of the Titanic. Her revelation sent shockwaves through the audience and the wider world. The story dominated headlines for weeks. Public outrage grew as more details emerged, prompting government inquiries and legal action against the implicated parties. Evelyn's courageous reporting earned her accolades, but it also brought danger to her doorstep. She received anonymous threats and noticed shadowy figures following her. Determined to see justice served, Evelyn continued her work, now with increased security. She testified before congressional committees, her testimony helping to shape new maritime laws aimed at preventing such schemes in the future. The Titanic's near miss became a catalyst for reform, ensuring that passenger safety would never again be compromised for profit. Meanwhile, J. Bruce Ismay, disgraced and facing criminal charges, fled to Europe, where he lived in relative obscurity. The scandal tarnished his legacy and nearly bankrupted the White Star Line. In Belfast, Thomas Andrews and his team at Harland and Wolff were hailed as heroes for their ship's resilience, their reputation bolstered by their commitment to safety improvements. As the years passed, the Titanic story continued to evolve. Evelyn published a book detailing her investigation, which became a bestseller and was later adapted into a critically acclaimed film. Her work inspired a new generation of journalists and activists, highlighting the importance of transparency and accountability. Evelyn and Siobhan remained close friends, their bond strengthened by their shared experiences. Siobhan, having found stability in America, became an advocate for immigrant rights, drawing on her own journey for inspiration. Yet, despite the triumphs and reforms, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that there were still untold stories about the Titanic. She traveled to Southampton, the port from which the Titanic had embarked, seeking out retired sailors, dock workers, and anyone who might hold another piece of the puzzle. Each interview revealed more about the ship, its passengers, and the world it inhabited. One rainy afternoon in a small pub near the docks, Evelyn met an elderly man who claimed to have been a cabin boy on the Titanic. His tale was filled with extraordinary details about the ship's construction, secret compartments, and whispers of espionage during the ship's construction. As Evelyn listened, she realized that the Titanic was not just a ship but a microcosm of the era's hopes, dreams, and conflicts. Her journey to uncover the truth was far from over. With renewed determination, she continued her quest, driven by the belief that every story, no matter how small, was a vital piece of the larger narrative. The Titanic, saved from sinking that fateful night, had instead embarked on a voyage through history, its legacy shaped by the courage of those who sought the truth and the enduring impact of their discoveries. Evelyn's relentless pursuit ensured that the Titanic story would never be forgotten, a testament to the enduring power of resilience and the unquenchable thirst for justice. Years passed, and Evelyn Thompson's investigation into the Titanic's hidden mysteries deepened. The elderly cabin boy's story about secret compartments and espionage intrigued her. She decided to visit Harland and Wolff in Belfast, hoping to uncover more about the ship's construction and the secrets it might still hold. In Belfast, Evelyn met with Thomas Andrews, who welcomed her warmly. Together, they explored the shipyard, examining old blueprints and documents. Andrews shared stories of the Titanic's construction, revealing details about the innovative engineering that had made the ship so formidable. Evelyn's questions about the cabin boy's claims piqued Andrews' interest, and he agreed to help her investigate further. As they delved into the records, they uncovered correspondence and memos hinting at covert activities during the ship's construction. There were references to unusual shipments, unexplained delays, and workers who had suddenly disappeared. One name kept resurfacing: William McPherson, a foreman who had overseen critical parts of the ship's build and who had mysteriously vanished shortly after the Titanic's completion. Determined to find out more, Evelyn tracked down McPherson's surviving relatives. She found his granddaughter, Margaret, living in a quiet village in Scotland. Margaret, an elderly woman with a sharp mind, recounted her grandfather's tales of the shipyard. She mentioned that William had always been tight-lipped about certain aspects of his work, but he had left behind a journal. Evelyn pored over the journal's cryptic entries, piecing together clues that pointed to a hidden compartment within the Titanic's structure. According to McPherson, this compartment was designed to house sensitive documents and valuable items, and it was accessible only through a concealed entrance known to a select few. With this new information, Evelyn returned to Belfast and shared her findings with Thomas Andrews. Intrigued and determined to uncover the truth, Andrews used his intimate knowledge of the ship's design to identify potential locations for the secret compartment. Together, they hypothesized that it might be hidden within one of the ship's massive coal bunkers. Meanwhile, Evelyn's ongoing investigation continued to draw attention. Her relentless pursuit of the truth had garnered a following, and she had become a symbol of journalistic integrity and tenacity. However, her work also attracted the attention of those who wanted to keep the Titanic's secrets buried. She received veiled threats and knew that powerful forces were watching her every move. Back in New York, Evelyn's trusted colleague, David, uncovered more about the conspiracy she had exposed years earlier. His research suggested that the sabotage plot had been part of a larger scheme involving international espionage. He found evidence linking key figures within the White Star Line to foreign agents who had hoped to destabilize the British maritime industry. As Evelyn and Thomas zeroed in on the likely location of the secret compartment, they faced mounting pressure. Anonymous threats escalated, and strange occurrences around the shipyard hinted at surveillance. Yet, their resolve only strengthened. They knew that uncovering this hidden space could reveal truths that would reshape history. One night, under the cover of darkness, Evelyn and Thomas gained access to the ship's dry dock. With the help of a few trusted workers, they navigated the labyrinthine interior of the Titanic's coal bunkers. Finally, after hours of searching, they found a panel that matched the description from Macpherson's journal. Their hearts pounded as they pried open the hidden entrance, revealing a small, steel-lined room. Inside, they discovered a treasure trove of documents, ledgers, and blueprints. Among the papers were detailed records of clandestine operations, secret communications, and a ledger listing names and payments, evidence of the sabotage plot and the players involved. Evelyn knew they had struck gold. This evidence not only corroborated her earlier findings but also provided concrete proof of the conspiracy. It implicated high-ranking officials and exposed the extent of the espionage network. The documents also hinted at the true intentions behind the Titanic's voyage, suggesting that the ship had been used to transport sensitive materials and information. With this revelation, Evelyn and Thomas contacted international authorities, ensuring the evidence was secured and those responsible were brought to justice. The subsequent trials rocked the maritime world, leading to widespread reforms and a renewed commitment to transparency and safety. Evelyn's discoveries were published in a groundbreaking series of articles and a best-selling book, Titanic Unveiled: Secrets of the Unsinkable Ship. Her work not only cemented her legacy as a trailblazing journalist but also highlighted the importance of vigilance and integrity in the face of corruption. The Titanic, once nearly lost to the depths of the Atlantic, had revealed its final secrets. The ship's legacy, forever intertwined with human ambition and resilience, stood as a testament to the enduring quest for truth. Evelyn's journey, driven by curiosity and courage, ensured that the Titanic story would be told in full, inspiring generations to come. And so, the tale of the Titanic continued to unfold, a symbol of humanity's capacity for perseverance, discovery, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Evelyn Thompson's groundbreaking book, Titanic Unveiled: Secrets of the Unsinkable Ship, became a global sensation. Her revelations not only brought justice to those wronged by the sabotage conspiracy but also reignited public interest in the Titanic's storied past. Museums and historical societies clamored for more information, and the surviving documents from the hidden compartment were carefully catalogued and displayed. However, the discovery of the secret compartment had stirred even more questions. One particular document hinted at a larger, more intricate web of espionage involving multiple nations. It suggested that the Titanic had been part of a clandestine operation to transport sensitive materials critical to national security. Evelyn, now a renowned journalist and author, couldn't resist the lure of one final investigation. Evelyn returned to Southampton, where she delved into archives and spoke with old shipyard workers. She discovered that some of the Titanic's design features were not just for luxury but for security and secrecy. She also learned about a mysterious passenger who had boarded the Titanic under an alias and had vanished shortly after its arrival in New York. This passenger, referred to only as Mr. X in the documents, had left behind a series of coded messages. Evelyn, with her knack for deciphering complex information, started to unravel the code. The messages revealed a secret meeting scheduled to take place in New York shortly after the Titanic's arrival, involving high-level officials from various countries. The agenda of this meeting was not documented, but it was clear that it was of paramount importance. Determined to uncover the truth, Evelyn traveled to New York, retracing the steps of Mr. X. She visited old hotels, libraries, and even private clubs where the elusive passenger might have stayed. Her investigation led her to a dusty, forgotten storage room in a defunct hotel. There, she found a hidden safe containing more coded documents, a map, and an old photograph of several men shaking hands on the deck of the Titanic. The photograph was dated the day the Titanic docked in New York. Evelyn recognized one of the men as a prominent British diplomat and another as a well-known American industrialist. The other figures remained unidentified, but their presence indicated the significance of their meeting. As Evelyn pieced together the clues, she realized that the Titanic had been more than just a passenger liner. It had been a floating rendezvous point for international spies and diplomats, a covert operation disguised as a luxurious voyage. The ship had carried not just passengers and cargo but also secrets that could alter the course of nations. Evelyn's discovery was both thrilling and perilous. She understood that revealing this information could have significant political repercussions even decades later. She contacted her trusted colleague David and shared her findings. Together, they decided to approach the governments involved, offering the information in exchange for transparency and historical clarity. Their negotiations were delicate. Some officials were willing to acknowledge the truth, while others were more resistant, fearing the fallout from past alliances and betrayals. Evelyn and David persevered, advocating for the importance of historical accuracy and the public's right to know. In a landmark moment, a multinational commission was formed to investigate and officially document the Titanic's role in this secretive chapter of history. The commission's findings confirmed Evelyn's discoveries, detailing the Titanic's dual purpose as a passenger ship and a covert meeting place. The revelations led to a new understanding of early 20th century geopolitics and the lengths to which nations would go to protect their interests. Evelyn's relentless pursuit of truth had once again brought light to the shadows of history. Her work underscored the importance of investigative journalism and the profound impact of uncovering the hidden layers of the past. Years later, Evelyn stood on the deck of a modern cruise ship, gazing out at the Atlantic Ocean. She was joined by Siobhan, now a celebrated advocate and her lifelong friend. They were on a commemorative voyage, retracing the Titanic's original route. As they sailed, Evelyn reflected on the journey that had begun with a near tragedy and ended with groundbreaking revelations. The Titanic's legacy, preserved through the efforts of those who sought the truth, stood as a testament to human resilience, courage, and the unending quest for knowledge. Evelyn's story, intertwined with that of the great ship, continued to inspire generations, reminding them that the past holds secrets waiting to be discovered and truths that can change the world. As Evelyn and Siobhan stood on the deck of the modern cruise ship, the horizon stretched out before them, vast and endless. The commemorative voyage was a journey not just through physical space but also through time, echoing the echoes of the past that had been so painstakingly uncovered. The ship's captain invited Evelyn to give a talk about her discoveries. The passengers gathered in the grand ballroom, eager to hear from the woman who had brought new light to one of history's most famous ships. As Evelyn spoke, she recounted her investigations, the hidden compartments, the secret documents, and the espionage that had intertwined with the Titanic story. The audience listened in rapt silence, absorbing the remarkable journey she had undertaken. After her talk, a young woman approached Evelyn. She introduced herself as Emily, a history student inspired by Evelyn's work. Emily had spent years researching her great-grandfather, who had been a steward on the Titanic. She shared a diary he had kept, which contained cryptic references to the secret meetings and mysterious passengers Evelyn had uncovered. This unexpected connection further validated Evelyn's discoveries, linking personal histories with the broader narrative of the Titanic. As the voyage continued, Evelyn and Siobhan found moments to reflect on their lives and the incredible journey they had shared. One evening, under a star-filled sky, Evelyn confided in Siobhan her feelings of both accomplishment and the bittersweet nature of her discoveries. They had brought justice and truth to light, but they had also revealed the complex and often dark underpinnings of history. Back in New York, Evelyn and David decided to create an archive dedicated to the Titanic's full history, ensuring that future generations could access the wealth of information they had uncovered. They partnered with museums, universities, and historical societies to curate exhibits and educational programs. This archive would become a center for maritime history, espionage studies, and journalistic integrity. As the years passed, Evelyn's work continued to inspire. Young journalists, historians, and researchers visited the archive, drawing from her meticulous records and passionate pursuit of truth. Evelyn herself became a mentor, guiding new generations in the ethical responsibilities of their work. One day, while working in the archive, Evelyn received a letter from an unexpected source. It was from a descendant of J. Bruce Ismay, expressing a desire to reconcile the family's past and contribute to the archive. The letter acknowledged the mistakes and wrongdoings of the past and offered additional documents and personal accounts that had been kept private. Evelyn saw this as a significant step towards healing and understanding, further enriching the Titanic story. In her later years, Evelyn wrote a memoir detailing her life's work. Beyond the Iceberg, The Journey of Unveiling the Titanic's Secrets became a bestseller, celebrated for its candid look at her relentless quest for truth and justice. The memoir was not just a recounting of events but a reflection on the importance of perseverance, ethics, and the unending search for knowledge. Evelyn's final project was an ambitious one, a global conference on maritime history and safety, bringing together experts, survivors' descendants, and anyone with a connection to the Titanic. The conference aimed to honor the past, celebrate the progress made, and discuss the future of maritime travel. It was a resounding success, fostering international cooperation and renewed commitment to safety and transparency. On the last night of the conference, Evelyn and Siobhan walked along the harbor, watching the moonlight dance on the water. They spoke of their shared journey, the people they had met, and the impact of their work. Evelyn felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that the Titanic's legacy was now one of truth, resilience, and enduring human spirit. Evelyn Thompson's life had been a voyage as remarkable as that of the Titanic itself. Her unwavering dedication had transformed a near tragedy into a beacon of hope and progress. As she looked out over the ocean, she knew that the story of the Titanic, and her own, would continue to inspire and guide those who sought the truth in the hidden depths of history. The Global Conference on Maritime History and Safety had drawn to a close, but the conversations and connections it fostered continued to ripple outward. Among the attendees were several notable figures whose lives were now entwined with the Titanic's legacy and Evelyn Thompson's unyielding pursuit of the truth. One such figure was Dr. Samuel Reed, a renowned historian and professor specializing in early 20th century espionage. Dr. Reed had been fascinated by Evelyn's discoveries and had come to the conference to present his own research on the geopolitical context of the Titanic's voyage. His collaboration with Evelyn opened new avenues of exploration, particularly the broader implications of the secret meetings held aboard the ship. Dr. Reed introduced Evelyn to Elena Petrovna, a Russian archivist with a deep knowledge of pre-revolutionary Russia. Elena had uncovered documents suggesting that the mysterious Mr. X was actually a Russian agent tasked with securing sensitive information during his transatlantic journey. Elena's insights added a new dimension to Evelyn's understanding of the international intrigue surrounding the Titanic. Also present at the conference was Captain Liam O'Sullivan, a modern-day maritime expert and descendant of one of the Titanic's crew members. Captain O'Sullivan had dedicated his career to improving maritime safety and was instrumental in implementing many of the reforms inspired by the Titanic's near disaster. His passion for the sea and respect for the past resonated with Evelyn, and the two found common ground in their shared commitment to safeguarding future voyages. Among the younger generation was Emily, the history student who had first approached Evelyn with her great-grandfather's diary. Emily had since become a prominent researcher in her own right, driven by the mysteries her ancestor had hinted at. She was accompanied by her partner, Alex, a tech-savvy archivist who helped digitize the extensive collection of documents Evelyn had amassed. Their combined efforts ensured that the Titanic's history was accessible to people worldwide, preserving its legacy for generations to come. During one of the conference's final gatherings, Evelyn and Siobhan found themselves in conversation with a group of descendants of Titanic survivors. Among them was Michael Strauss, a great-grandson of Isidore and Ida Strauss, who had perished on the Titanic. Michael had grown up hearing stories of his family's bravery and was deeply moved by Evelyn's work to uncover and share the true story of the ship. He pledged to support the archive and educational initiatives, honoring his ancestors' memory. Another descendant, Claire Hart, was the granddaughter of Margaret Brown, famously known as the unsinkable Molly Brown. Claire was a vibrant woman with a passion for storytelling, and she captivated the conference attendees with tales of her grandmother's indomitable spirit. Her enthusiasm and charm brought a lively energy to the event, reminding everyone that the Titanic's legacy was not just one of tragedy but also of human strength and resilience. As the conference drew to a close, Evelyn, Siobhan, Dr. Reed, Elena, Captain O'Sullivan, Emily, Alex, Michael, and Claire gathered for a final dinner. They shared stories, laughed, and made plans for future collaborations. The bonds they had formed were a testament to the enduring impact of the Titanic and the power of shared history to unite people across generations and backgrounds. In the following months, Evelyn and her newfound allies worked tirelessly to expand the Titanic archive and establish a traveling exhibit that would bring the ship's story to communities worldwide. The exhibit featured interactive displays, personal artifacts, and multimedia presentations, ensuring that the Titanic's legacy was experienced in a way that was both educational and deeply personal. Evelyn's life continued to be one of purpose and passion. She received letters and visits from people whose lives had been touched by her work. One such visitor was Dr. Ahmed Hassan, an oceanographer who had been inspired by Evelyn's discoveries to explore the environmental impact of maritime travel. Dr. Hassan's research led to new initiatives to protect marine ecosystems, furthering the legacy of the Titanic story in unexpected and meaningful ways. Evelyn also formed a close friendship with Maria Garcia, a journalist from South America who had covered the Titanic story from an international perspective. Maria's perspective brought a global dimension to Evelyn's work, highlighting the universal lessons of the Titanic's voyage. As Evelyn, now surrounded by a vibrant community of friends and colleagues, continued her work, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The Titanic story, once shrouded in mystery and tragedy, had become a beacon of hope, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Evelyn's journey had shown that history is not just a record of the past but a living, evolving narrative that shapes and is shaped by those who dare to uncover its secrets. The modern cruise ship, retracing the Titanic's route, sailed smoothly across the Atlantic. Evelyn stood on the deck, the wind in her hair, and reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her here. Surrounded by friends old and new, she knew that the story of the Titanic, and her own, would continue to inspire and guide those who sought the truth in the hidden depths of history. Evelyn Thompson's expanded circle of friends and colleagues kept her engaged and motivated, ensuring that the Titanic's legacy was not just remembered but actively explored and celebrated. Each of her new allies brought their unique perspectives and skills to the project, making the archive and traveling exhibit an unprecedented success. Months after the conference, the traveling exhibit embarked on its journey across the world, starting in major cities like London, Paris, and Berlin. Dr. Samuel Reed and Elena Petrovna accompanied the exhibit, giving lectures on the geopolitical intrigue surrounding the Titanic, while Captain Liam O'Sullivan shared insights on modern maritime safety. Emily and Alex, the young researchers, created a digital component of the exhibit, allowing people from all over the world to access rare documents, personal stories, and interactive elements online. Their work brought the Titanic's history into the digital age, ensuring that anyone with an internet connection could learn about the ship's remarkable story. The exhibit's success caught the attention of educators and historians, leading to invitations from universities and schools. Michael Strauss and Claire Hart played pivotal roles in these educational efforts, using their personal connections to the Titanic to inspire students and spark discussions about resilience, bravery, and the importance of remembering the past. During a stop in Buenos Aires, Maria Garcia hosted a special event that highlighted the international impact of the Titanic story. She brought together scholars and journalists from across South America to discuss the ship's legacy and its relevance to contemporary issues. The event was a resounding success, fostering new connections and expanding the reach of Evelyn's work even further. Back in New York, Evelyn continued to work closely with David, her trusted colleague. They oversaw the archival efforts and coordinated with the traveling exhibit team, ensuring that every detail was meticulously handled. The archive had become a bustling hub of activity, attracting scholars, journalists, and curious visitors from around the globe. One day, Evelyn received a call from Dr. Ahmed Hassan, the oceanographer who had been inspired by her work. He had made a significant discovery while researching the environmental impact of the Titanic's voyage. Dr. Hassan had found evidence of an underwater ecosystem thriving around the Titanic's wreck site, a remarkable testament to nature's resilience. He proposed an expedition to study this unique habitat, and Evelyn eagerly agreed to join him. The expedition brought together a diverse team of scientists, historians, and journalists. Among them was Dr. Maya Chen, a marine biologist specializing in deep-sea ecosystems. Dr. Chen's expertise and passion for ocean conservation added a new dimension to the project. She and Dr. Hassan worked closely to document the underwater life and understand how the Titanic's wreck had influenced the marine environment. As the expedition ventured into the depths of the Atlantic, they discovered a vibrant community of creatures living among the remnants of the Titanic. The team marveled at the delicate balance of life that had developed around the shipwreck, a poignant reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Evelyn documented the expedition's findings, creating a comprehensive report that highlighted both the scientific and historical significance of their discoveries. Evelyn's journey had come full circle. From uncovering hidden secrets within the Titanic to exploring its impact on the natural world, she had dedicated her life to revealing the ship's many layers. Her work had united people from diverse backgrounds and disciplines, all driven by a shared passion for understanding and preserving history. As the expedition concluded, Evelyn stood on the deck of the research vessel, gazing out at the vast ocean. Surrounded by friends and colleagues who had become like family, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The Titanic story had been transformed from a tale of tragedy to one of resilience, discovery, and hope. The legacy of the Titanic, and Evelyn's own, would continue to inspire future generations. Her relentless pursuit of truth had shown that history is not just a record of the past but a living, breathing narrative that shapes and is shaped by those who dare to seek its hidden depths. And so, the story of the Titanic, enriched by the discoveries and connections made along the way, sailed on. Evelyn Thompson's unwavering dedication had ensured that its legacy would endure, a beacon of light guiding those who sought to uncover the truths buried beneath the waves. Evelyn Thompson returned from the expedition invigorated and with a renewed sense of purpose. The discoveries made at the Titanic's wreck site had not only expanded scientific understanding but also deepened the emotional and historical connection to the ship. The vibrant underwater ecosystem symbolized resilience and renewal, themes that resonated with Evelyn's lifelong work. Back in New York, Evelyn and her colleagues organized a symposium to share the findings of the expedition. Held at a prestigious university, the event attracted experts from various fields, including marine biology, history, journalism, and engineering. Dr. Ahmed Hassan and Dr. Maya Chen presented their research on the underwater ecosystem, captivating the audience with their insights into the interplay between history and nature. The symposium also featured personal stories from descendants of Titanic passengers and crew, creating a poignant and comprehensive picture of the ship's legacy. Michael Strauss and Claire Hart shared their family's stories, while Captain Liam O'Sullivan discussed the ongoing advancements in maritime safety inspired by the Titanic. During the symposium, Evelyn met Dr. Javier Rodriguez, a prominent historian from Spain who had been studying the Titanic's lesser-known passengers and their cultural impacts. Dr. Rodriguez's work added a new layer to the understanding of the Titanic's passengers, highlighting the diverse backgrounds and aspirations of those on board. His research complemented Evelyn's narrative, providing a broader, more inclusive view of the ship's history. As the symposium concluded, Evelyn felt a sense of fulfillment and connection with the many people who had contributed to the Titanic story. The collaborative efforts of historians, scientists, descendants, and journalists had created a rich tapestry of knowledge, ensuring that the Titanic's legacy would continue to inspire and educate. Evelyn's work had not gone unnoticed. She received an invitation to speak at an international conference on historical preservation in Paris. The conference would bring together experts from around the world to discuss best practices in preserving and sharing historical narratives. Evelyn eagerly accepted, seeing it as an opportunity to further advocate for the importance of historical accuracy and integrity. In Paris, Evelyn reunited with Dr. Samuel Reed and Elena Petrovna, who were also presenting at the conference. The three of them shared a panel, discussing the intersection of espionage, maritime history, and the importance of uncovering hidden truths. Their session was well received, sparking lively discussions and inspiring new research initiatives. While in Paris, Evelyn and her colleagues visited the French National Archives, where they uncovered additional documents related to the Titanic. These documents included correspondence between French officials and White Star Line executives, providing further evidence of the international intrigue surrounding the ship's voyage. The new information added depth to Evelyn's work, confirming the global significance of the Titanic story. Back in New York, the Titanic archive continued to thrive. Evelyn and David expanded their team, welcoming new researchers, archivists, and volunteers. One of the new team members, Dr. Aisha Karim, brought expertise in digital humanities, helping to further enhance the online component of the archive. Karim's innovative approaches made the Titanic's history even more accessible and engaging for a global audience. Evelyn's influence extended beyond the archive. She established a fellowship program for young journalists and historians, providing mentorship and funding for research projects related to the Titanic and other historical events. Emily and Alex, now well established in their careers, became mentors themselves, guiding the next generation of scholars and journalists. One evening, as Evelyn reviewed the latest research submissions, she received an unexpected letter from Lord Henry Fitzwilliam, a British nobleman whose grandfather had been a silent partner in the White Star Line. Lord Fitzwilliam expressed his admiration for Evelyn's work and offered access to his family's private archives, which contained previously undisclosed information about the Titanic's construction and the financial intricacies of its operation. Intrigued, Evelyn traveled to England to meet Lord Fitzwilliam. His family's estate, a sprawling manor in the countryside, held a treasure trove of documents and artifacts. As Evelyn and Lord Fitzwilliam delved into the archives, they uncovered contracts, financial records, and personal letters that shed new light on the Titanic's creation and the high-stakes gambles taken by its investors. Among the documents, Evelyn found a series of letters from Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, to his family. These letters provided intimate insights into Andrews' thoughts and feelings about the Titanic, revealing his pride in its design as well as his concerns about its safety. The letters were a poignant reminder of the human element behind the engineering marvel, adding a deeply personal touch to the historical narrative. Returning to New York with these newfound treasures, Evelyn and her team worked tirelessly to incorporate the information into the archive and exhibit. The story of the Titanic, once a tale of tragedy and loss, had become a complex, multifaceted narrative of ambition, innovation, and human resilience. As the years went by, Evelyn's legacy continued to grow. She received numerous awards and honors for her contributions to historical preservation and journalism. Her memoir, Beyond the Iceberg: The Journey of Unveiling the Titanic Secrets, became a staple in academic curricula and inspired countless individuals to pursue careers in history and investigative journalism. Evelyn's journey had transformed her from a curious journalist into a celebrated historian and advocate for truth. Her work had brought justice to those who had suffered, honored the memories of those lost, and connected people across the globe through the shared history of the Titanic. One evening, as Evelyn walked along the harbor with Siobhan, they reflected on the incredible journey they had shared. The moonlight shimmered on the water, a silent witness to their enduring friendship and the legacy they had built. Evelyn knew that the story of the Titanic, and her own, would continue to inspire and guide future generations, a testament to the power of truth, resilience, and the unending quest for knowledge. As Evelyn and Siobhan walked along the harbor, the twinkling lights of the city reflected on the water, casting a serene glow. They spoke of the countless lives touched by the Titanic story and the enduring impact of their work. Evelyn felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared, from the depths of research libraries to the depths of the ocean. As they reached the end of the pier, Evelyn paused and looked out at the vast expanse of the ocean, feeling a sense of connection to all those who had sailed its waters. The Titanic's legacy, once shrouded in tragedy and mystery, had been transformed into a beacon of hope and resilience, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and overcome even the most daunting challenges. With a final glance at the moonlit horizon, Evelyn turned to Siobhan, her lifelong friend and confidant. Theirs had been a remarkable journey, one filled with discovery, friendship, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. As they stood together, surrounded by the echoes of history, Evelyn knew that their work would continue to inspire and enlighten future generations, ensuring that the story of the Titanic would never be forgotten. With a smile, Evelyn took Siobhan's hand, and together they walked back towards the city, ready to embark on their next adventure. For Evelyn Thompson, the journey was far from over, it was just beginning. And as long as there were stories to uncover and truths to reveal, she would be there, leading the way with courage, compassion, and an unshakable commitment to the pursuit of knowledge. As the sun began to rise on the horizon, casting its golden light over the world, Evelyn felt a sense of anticipation for the future. The world was vast and full of possibilities, and she knew that wherever her journey took her, she would carry with her the lessons learned from the Titanic, the lessons of resilience, courage, and the enduring power of the human spirit. And so, with a heart full of hope and a spirit renewed, Evelyn Thompson set forth into the world, ready to write the next chapter in her extraordinary story. And as she did, she knew that the legacy of the Titanic would always be with her, guiding her forward and reminding her of the importance of never giving up, no matter how dark the waters may seem. For in the end, Evelyn understood that the true measure of a life was not in the moments of triumph or success, but in the courage to face adversity head-on and the determination to keep moving forward, one step at a time. And as she looked out at the vast expanse of the ocean, Evelyn knew that her journey was far from over, it was just beginning. And she couldn't wait to see where it would take her next.